Come on. There we go.
Are we live?
Yes, we're live.
All right. Welcome to Disturb Oasis podcast. Are we at episode 8? Is that what we are?
Yes.
Is this episode 8? And thank you, Jeff Oakes. Good to meet you, sir.
Likewise.
Thank you so much. You are running for what position?
Board of Supervisors, District 3.
District 3. Now, where exactly is District 3?
District 3 starts on Mountain Road, near the intersection of Sinai Road, and goes all the way to the county line on Mountain Road, all the way to the county line on Chatham Road, and everything in between.
Okay. So up in that corner, like headed out toward Chatham, maybe toward Danville a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Okay, wonderful. And who are you running against?
I'm running against Hubert Pannell.
And he's an incumbent.
Yes, he is.
Okay, excellent. Well, let's before we talk about you versus Mr. Pannell and the reasons why you might be, in your opinion, a better option. Let's give the people a little bit about your background. I think a lot of people know that you used to be a sheriff here in Halifax County. What would you like to share with us now about your background?
I've done a little bit of everything. Sheriff was the highlight of my career. And aside from my wife, one of the greatest contributions that I've made to the county and my life, for that matter. My church right up there with it, and my faith. I've been a farmhand. I've been a bag boy at Winn-Dixie. It feels like 100 years ago. I've worked multiple places, almost always in a service environment of helping people, customers, or otherwise, and then helping the public, of course, as a deputy sheriff for 10 years, and then sheriff for 12. So I have a service heart. My slogan on my campaign literature is service before self. And that's an Air Force slogan, and that's a Rotary slogan.
Okay.
But it means a lot to me that I put my service to an individual ahead of my service to myself. Selfless, so to speak, as much as is possible in the crazy world that we live in.
Right.
But education-wise, product of Halifax County Public Schools. Went to Elon College for a semester. I went to Everett College for a semester. Decided I'd rather be home around my mom, and I came back home and went out and into the private sector and worked most of my life. Actually retired a couple of years ago from Terry Auto Group as a service advisor. So once again, the service industry, and that's a very brief, encapsulated version of my work history in education.
So you've been out of, let's say, maybe for lack of a better term, public life since about maybe 2008. Is that correct?
2007, end of 2007 was the end of my reign as sheriff.
Right, and you sort of haven't really been doing a whole lot in terms of occupying like public positions since then, or nothing that.
Right, I've done none. I have haven't followed local politics very much at all until probably the last 6 months.
Okay, so
got a couple of phone calls, and that's when things started to snowball a little bit.
Okay, so I guess more or less, why now? And why now? What is causing you to want to run for the Board of Supervisors? And if you want to speak to your platform at all, now would be a good time to do it if you don't mind.
Okay. First phone call I got was about trying to unify the conservative groups in the county. At one point in time, I was chairman of the Republican Party of Halifax County. Eons ago, it feels like. But I told the person who inquired of me if I could do that, that I didn't think it was something that I was capable of performing. There was too much division among the two groups.
So you're talking about the local Republicans and the Southside Conservatives?
Yes,
okay.
Those two groups. And so then probably a few weeks later, I get a phone call, would you be willing to take over the Republican Party? And having done that, I knew the nuances of it, and it was something that I really wasn't interested in. one, out of respect for the current chairman of the party. And so I said, no, I don't think I want to do that either.
Right.
But I appreciate you thinking about me. Then I got a phone call. Have you looked at what's going on with the Board of Supervisors?
From one of the Republican people or somebody in the general
No, from a constituent in the community.
Okay.
And I said, no, I really haven't been paying attention. Nothing that they had done was impactful to me at that point.
Right.
I said, but I'll go to a board meeting and see if I can get a feel for it before I give you either a yes or a no. So I went to my first board meeting in 18 years. And was dumbfounded at how the business of the county was being conducted.
Right. What do you mean by that, dumbfounded? What shocked you? What put you in that state?
A lack of transparency.
Okay.
Live streaming. I didn't know that the board wasn't live streaming meetings. So the public, in essence, was taken out of their government process by not being able to interact with their representatives in their various districts. The other thing that, more than the agenda, how it's set up.
The 200 pages back in.
It takes away the opportunity for the public to speak.
In reaction to individual decisions.
Yes.
So you get a public comment section at the beginning. Sometimes they'll open up for public comment on certain things, but most things, tit for tat, there's no public comment. That's what you're saying.
There's a disclaimer on the agenda in the section for public comment that says, you cannot speak to an issue that has a public hearing pending or has had a public hearing in the past.
Yes, I've seen that.
To me, that was one of the most ignorant things to have in a line that said public comment. Why are you restricting the public from talking about things that happened in the past that they couldn't attend the public hearing to speak for work reasons or death in the family or illness or any number of things? A little bit of coordination and you could avert those issues that make the public
inflamed,
suspicious of your actions. Inflamed is a great word as well. But, and a case in point, the county bought a piece of land down on 58 East. I asked a supervisor, they went into executive session to discuss the negotiations. They subsequently bought it. I asked a supervisor, did anybody think to ask people in that community where this property is, do they know of land nearby that we could buy, less expensive? Did they know anybody that had land that they might donate to the county? Nobody thought of that.
Well, that's a good idea.
My gosh, I didn't have to think a lot about it to come to that conclusion. So then the next meeting, 2 people show up to protest the selection of this property on 58 East. One lady said it's a bad line of sight coming in and out of it. Somebody's going to get killed leaving the green box site. Another person said my mother is 100 feet away as her front door. She has to look at that every day of her life, the rest of her life. So it's too late now. The land has been purchased and they're going to go ahead with the project. But by hamstringing the public and not being able to become involved in the process, you're taking away the power of the people, in essence.
Yes.
Is that what the motive was when they did it to begin with? Did they intentionally restrict people's voice at public meetings? I don't know. I know, going back to the transparency thing, why would you not let the public, the voters, see local government in action? the explanation that I have heard is we don't think the public can behave themselves in the meetings.
Well, I think we just proved that last week. I think that
More than one occasion.
130 some people were in the room and nothing popped off.
I personally, I think you don't want to let the people see your behavior as members of the Board of Supervisors, more so than how the public behaves. Because there are 4 or 5 deputies at just about every meeting I've been to, and not many people are foolish enough to show their tails in front of a deputy and get escorted to Halifax. Those 2 things really bother me.
Well, I wonder if that part's even legal.
They set their own guidelines, but I know they have a code of conduct for themselves and for the public that has been published a couple of times.
Okay.
One other thing that really bothers me is complaints from the community about supervisors not being responsive to their phone calls. And cumulatively, I went to the board meeting. I was disgusted with everything that I saw. And that swayed me into making the decision to run.
And that was about 6 months ago?
Yeah, less than that probably closer to 4.
Okay.
What specifically were you disgusted with?
Well, he just talked about the land thing, and then
the non-live streaming, the lack of communication, the land thing. What about the recent events that has everybody up in arms?
Well, those events previously encouraged me to run.
Gotcha.
The recent things are just, it's almost bizarro world, some of the things that we're living in now.
Well, it almost feels fictitious. I mean, it's
you can't make it up.
It's like everything's designed to get a response or to dare people into a response. It's like they're playing chicken with the public. But so let's list what these things are. Okay, so
the salary and the walk back.
Yeah, they attempted to give themselves a raise, and then the people cried out, and so they reversed course on that. There's this issue about paying one person to work who doesn't live here to work 16 hours a week, an exorbitant salary to do 2 people's jobs that are supposed to be 2 full-time jobs that are actually salary jobs, which implies that those jobs are actually meant to be working more than 40 hours per week. That's why you pay someone a salary instead of an hourly wage. And then there's this gaslighting campaign, and I'm just going to say the name, Mr. McDowell, sends out an email that then goes, circulates on social media, claiming that the county's getting a deal because previously we were paying $320,000 a year for both of those positions. Now we're only paying $300,000 per year, but of course he didn't really fully do the math, nor did he structure his argument in complete sentences. And he, just saying. And so, really the county's not getting a deal if you consider that we're supposed to be getting 80 to 100 hours per week of labor out of this money, but we're really only getting 16 hours of labor per week out of this money. So there's that part. There's the firing of Scott Simpson, which some people supported and some people did not support, but that was a controversial thing. And then now more about this thing where people from animal control are suing 2 of the supervisors, or 2 people are suing
2 former employees are they're now suing the board for unlawful firing or whatever. But when you collectively look at all these issues, the question I think most people want to know: how can you input? First of all, what's wrong with all this? And I think you've mentioned transparency and communication. And bizarro even, but what can you do to springboard change?
And just respond to it too. I'd like to know how he feels about all that.
Yes, okay, fair enough.
Well,
as a candidate.
Why does an 18-year veteran director of finance walk away from her job?
Ooh. I'm interested in your
Who was
theory.
this? Who was
you
this?
have one.
Stephanie Jackson.
18 years she walked away from her job.
She walked away from her job.
I have a guess, but if you have a guess. What's your guess?
I think she was micromanaged by people who shouldn't be micromanaging the director of finance.
Okay.
People in high positions within the Board of Supervisors.
Okay.
I think when you tell a director of finance that you can't participate in a budget meeting.
That didn't make a
Were
lot of
I
sense.
in her
That
shoes,
makes no sense at all.
that would be the final straw for me.
Yeah.
If you tell me I can't participate in a budget meeting and I am the director of finance,
Gotcha. Okay.
how could you stay? How could you not glean from that you're no longer wanted in the county? At least by one person.
Or something hinky's going on, for sure.
And as an aside, if you lose a key element of your business, the county is a business, irregardless of how you feel. Why did you not immediately try to find a replacement for the director of finance? Why have you waited 6 months to publish that? I know you've advertised it in the newspaper, but statewide, nationally, it hasn't been advertised until the 29th of August.
So that's a big window of opportunity, you know, if you wanted less eyes on certain things. Anyway.
And in that same vein, how do you lose the director of general properties, the building inspector, the administrative assistant to the county administrator?
These are all people that quit?
They quit. These are all people
Oh,
that have
around the
quit.
same time?
Yes, within the last, since the end of February, they have all left.
Yeah.
What alarm should have gone off when all those people left?
People saw something they didn't like.
Try to train somebody to run a cash register. That's difficult. Training somebody to run a county multi-million-dollar budget, and you're hiring somebody off the street. You can't hire somebody off the street to do that. And then the county administrator, it fell in the same motion that got rid of those people, got rid of Scott Simpson, even though his was a termination with no explanation.
Right.
And I know that he was invaluable on the Hitachi project, the VIR water supply $10 million grant project, and other grants that we have gotten, the Sinai grant, working with South Boston, the Riverdale grant, I think that's 1.6 million. Key people, key components of the team that was assembled to run the county, manage the county for the Board of Supervisors are gone. And one lady has been hired to do two of the most important jobs in the county.
Arguably the two most important.
Yeah, arguably the most important jobs in the county. And it would be a daunting task if it was only one of those jobs, doing it a couple of days a week and then working from home. So I don't know how you justify the salary that she's being paid contractually against the amount of work that she's going to do, the volume of work. I don't know how you track that. How do you know, if not electronically, how many hours she's on the computer doing the county's work as opposed to Sussex County's work, which is the other job that she has?
Really? Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's working remotely. And then,
that's the burning question everybody wants to know. And if we can get more interviews of current Board of Supervisor members, we can.
Yes, and they did a lot of this thing. They did the conversation in closed session, so I just wondered, do we have access to Ms. Morgan's resume? You know,
I don't know.
You do?
I do.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So maybe we'll find that in a different way. Okay. So there's those are a few of the things in that you didn't touch on the lawsuit, but if you want to, you can, but you don't have to.
Lawsuit. County has insurance to pay whatever the settlement will be. I think the lawsuit addresses another issue of, and I hate the word oligarchy, but one person running the show, and there are 8 supervisors and a tiebreaker person who apparently have very limited input, if not individually as voting blocks.
Right.
When you have 5 people that always vote against 3 people,
Right.
and vice versa, you're going to have problems. and the public is not going to necessarily pick up on that if they don't attend meetings or follow the minutes of the meetings as they are published.
Mm-hmm.
Because all you read is they approved this solar project.
Yeah.
They didn't approve this solar project.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know who the players were in those decisions if you don't try to track it a little more personally.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I try to track every one of them,
Mm-hmm.
but there seems to be no rhyme or reason in decisions that the board makes day to day that involves all 8 or 9 minds thinking as one.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the gang of 5
Mm-hmm.
voting one way, and the 3 outcasts voting another way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not conducive for good government. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't give the public a clear perspective of how government functions when you constantly have the minority members of the 3 minority members trying to make comments and opinions known to the public, and the chairman saying, no, we're not going to have any more conversation, talk over them, disregard them. It goes against all the code of ethics that they sign off on before every meeting.
Mm-hmm.
It really bothers me that any one person thinks that they can control local government to the point that they are king.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of the sense that I get, and I think the community at large shares my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
that it's Mr. Claiborne's way or the highway.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't work. That doesn't work in a democracy.
Well, when the decisions are so, they've reached a level of stimulating public outrage. Now the writing on the wall here as well is that you're actually running against one of the so-called Gang of 5, Mr. Hubert Pannell. And so just to qualify this, I know that there's been a public conversation about this language of Gang of 5 being questionable in terms of its racial connotation. So
Really?
Yeah.
That statement was made.
That statement has been made in an extended way. Like people have made an argument for that. And a friend of mine who's a black member of the community brought this to my attention, and she seemed sympathetic to that argument. My immediate gut reaction, maybe I'm a little cynical, but I'm like, well, that sounds like a spin job to me. But I mean, that's just my
group of 5, whatever.
It's a lot of spin to me
That
because
sounds like a spin job to me. But let's say I'm going to use the word group of 5 to avoid the controversy. You can say what you want to say.
I said crew of 5.
Yeah, you can say what you want to say. But I'm going to say group of 5, and so this group of 5, you're running against one of this group of 5. I'm interested in 2 things. Number one, why you versus Mr. Pannell, and number 2, Stanley Brandon has already announced that he's dropping out of his race. So does that mean that the group of 5 is already on its way out, and will that change the dynamics of politics one way or the other? Feel free to connect those 2 things, and feel free to connect those 2 questions in support of why people should vote for you.
And yes, and that's what I was going to say. And let me add, what part are you going to do to affect change and make progress? Because this is these people watching's money that's being dealt with.
Well, first of all, the Gang of 5 includes Pete Riddle.
That's right.
Who is Caucasian.
Mm-hmm. That's
so,
right.
There was no inference of racism to the Gang of 5 when I initiated that term for the
you
group.
coined it.
Yes, I did.
You're claiming credit for coining
Yes, I did.
Okay, yes, sir. Okay, great. Okay, now we got to the root. Okay,
and
great.
a fourth, another member of that group, Keith McDowell, is Native American.
Yes.
Or partially Native American. I don't know his ethnicity, but I know that he is at least in part Native American.
Mm-hmm.
And so as far as black-white, it doesn't pass muster. And that for that argument, that's just a cop-out in my opinion. But The board needs someone on it that has common sense and the ability to exercise it. We do things haphazardly, behind closed doors, makes the public think you're doing stuff that you have no business doing. You have that image of hiding things from the public, and you can't do that in a modern society that has telephones, cameras, cell phones, every kind of gadget you can think of to monitor what's going on in the world. We can't hide in a cave and get the business of the county done. We have to be out in the open. We have to listen to people. You have to return phone calls. If I can't call you back within 30 minutes, I'll call you back within 3 days. People tell me they don't get called back, period. And if I have a legitimate concern that motivates me to call my supervisor and say, I need to talk to you, I would really like to think you would honor that and call me back. That's not happening. We have a lot of issues in the county that are going to take a concerted effort of like-minded people, or convince people who aren't like-minded that this is what we need to focus on to move forward.
Can you give me an example of some of those issues?
Emergency services communications. That speaks to my heart because I did that for 22 years. I did law enforcement. I did the 911 coordination. I did work with fire departments, rescue squad, work with all those emergency services agencies. And I know from personal experience, I had a deputy shoot and kill a man with mental illness because he couldn't get any help because his radio wasn't working to let the dispatcher know that he needed help. And I think about it real often because I know it haunts him to this day, having lived through that. We are very fortunate not to have had that happen again with the radio system that we have. We bought something on the cheap, and now it's causing us a lot of grief. And you can talk to any fireman, rescue squad person, firefighters, rescue, law enforcement, talk to any of them. Get that ear away from that uniform when they can talk to you, and they'll tell you of the disaster that is the radio system. And it's going to be expensive, but it's an expense that we cannot go without. And somebody's got to agree to do it. And what's going on now isn't getting it fixed. And lives are at stake. And I can't say it any more bluntly than that. Somebody's going to get killed because we have inadequate communications between the users in the field. We don't have interoperability with neighboring agencies.
Oh, wow.
It's just a disaster.
That's scary.
And it is.
So you're like talking police radio, emergency services radio.
All of that. All public safety.
Safety.
Everything public safety is.
But this county's rich, right? Then we just spend 9 figures on a high school, and then we got another 8 figures for an athletic center that's going to be in the building that they said is
There's
sinking.
money somewhere.
That money can't be commingled, but
Okay.
the
This county's rich, right? We can afford it, right?
School board's money is theirs. Well, now with the emergence of Hitachi's big expansion, there'll be money in the not so distant future. But we made a mistake a few years ago buying something that wasn't adequate, and now we're paying the price. And we haven't paid the price that is the ultimate price, and that's somebody's life, be it a citizen, be it a police officer or a firefighter. We're just lucky, really lucky.
Any other priority issues that come to mind?
Planks.
Countywide, workforce development. I said this months ago. I didn't say this after Hitachi announced their plans.
Right.
I have friends in industry who know they can't get people to apply for jobs that are qualified to work. We've got to do something to educate kids in school, high school, the next level, through the higher ed center. Something, we've got to fill that niche industry to train people to do the jobs that need to be done in Hitachi.
What if Hitachi pulls out and leaves in 5 years? And then you train all those people and spend all that money. Because they're not from here. They can pull out anytime they want.
Well, if they're going to hire close to 900 people, I think is one of the figures.
Yeah. 875, they said.
Where are they going to draw them from? The county is working on a housing project. It's going to have 96 units.
Right.
This is 96 people? Or are everybody going to live communally in one apartment? So housing is going to be another issue.
Is there any way the Board of Supervisors can address that issue here?
Well, they're already trying to get funding to move forward with that. The land is already available to them. It was a trade-off with one of the solar projects, and Rick Harrell, who's been instrumental in a whole lot of stuff. The land is the county's already. Now we just got to, we have the footprint, now we have to build on top of it.
Right.
But we're going to have people, and I laughed at somebody today when we were talking about it. Somebody needs to build one of those super campgrounds that you put your motorhome on and work from there. There's one in Roxborough. I know Dean Jones is building one over here near the fairgrounds. Those kind of things work for contract workers for the power plant and shutdowns and things like that. So we got to do something, and reasonably quick. So somebody better agree on doing something at the Board of Supervisors level, because it's got to be done. You can't have people commuting from Raleigh to come up here and work. I guess people do it. I know people that drive 60 miles every day to their job, but we got to figure those things out. And we don't have a lot of time to play around with it.
I have, I don't know if this is going to be a final question or not, but it's up to y'all.
Do we need to wrap up?
Well, I want to circle back a little bit, because what you're asking for is a position of public trust, and the public does not have much trust in politicians, law enforcement, or people of authority, for understandable reasons or not. So you have a very colorful reputation, as we've discussed, and I want to ask two questions. Number one, I want to ask your opinion, personal opinion, on race relations in this county. And two, I want to ask, what experience do you have that me, as just a common person, will feel that you can empathize with my situation of struggle in life, and how I might have a perspective that keeps me disengaged from local politics?
Boy, that's a wide range. Well, my work history is from the bottom of the totem pole to the top of the totem pole. I've done everything twice. I have seen the worst of people, and I've seen the best of people in multiple situations. I'm colorblind when it comes to race. Even though people, when you have no other argument to make against somebody other than they're a racist, you have nothing. There's a guy that comes to the board meetings. Years ago, he would come to the board meetings, a white guy, and I'm not going to say his name, but everybody knows who he is.
I know who he is.
He wore a KKK hat to a board meeting.
That's the creepy guy.
Hey.
He tore pages from the Holy Bible in defiance to the Board of Supervisors.
Wow.
He turns his back when we all stand black and white and pledge allegiance to the flag. He turns his back to the flag. When I was sheriff, he showed his butt at a board meeting, and the chairman had me escort him out of the room. And I did it gladly. He had been a thorn in the side of his community, primarily black people, about deer hunting and property lines and you name it. I got him outside and he said, "You don't know who you're dealing with, do you?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I do know who I'm dealing with. I know your name and I know your reputation." And he said, "I'm hooked up with the DEA, the FBI, the CIA." And I said, "Well, I'm fixing to expose you to the sheriff of Halifax County. Keep talking." And it ended on that note. He got in his car and drove away. Had he not, he would have gone to jail. And he's a white man, wears a KKK hat, claims to know everybody. He was disruptive. He wasn't trying to help the county in any stretch of the imagination. And I removed him. My career has been good versus evil on many levels. And I've always tried to do right by the community. I've been criticized for all kinds of things by all kinds of people. And I go to bed at night knowing that I did the best that I could for everybody. I've locked up people that were the elite in Halifax County, and I've locked up people who were the poor folks of Halifax County. And I did my job then, and I will do my job now, the right way, the transparent way, and I will be responsive to the needs of the community. We're not getting that now. The people that need help aren't getting help, and the people that don't need help don't care. And we can't go on that way. I'm trying to help out Halifax County. If I win, I win. If I lose, I'll go back to doing the things that were making me happy before.
And you'll answer phone calls as a board
I'll answer
supervisor.
phone calls.
Now, do we need to wrap up, or do
Yeah.
we? Okay, we can circle back to the question of Mr. Oakes versus Mr. Pannell or
Pannell.
Pannell. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Or do we need to wrap up?
It's up to you. I mean, would you want to address that?
I'd like to address my district and the people in my district. Our District 3 is being underserved by Hubert Pannell. The issues that we have as a community in District 3, cell phone service, internet service, fire and rescue response, none of those things are being addressed by him or by the board. And something has to change. We can't be in the 21st century living in the 19th century. And it's just not going to work. So somebody, ask yourself when you have a moment, if you're living in District 3, what has Hubert Pannell done to make my life better? That will change your mind.
Great.
Okay, so we do need to wrap up. Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Oakes. Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, we really appreciate your time and your candor.
Vote early, if at all possible. And
Yeah.
I appreciate your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.